Let's actually talk about something else that's a little bit more closer to home, say the NFC North. It's Aaron Rodgers. Now, again, I just said a couple of minutes ago, I do not like the Green Bay Packers. I simply don't. I've never liked the Green Bay Packers. I've never liked their fans and their smug attitude. I've never liked how Aaron Rodgers has had this higher, holier-than-thou mindset that he is the greatest thing since sliced bread when it comes to playing the game of quarterback. And since he has that higher, holier-than-thou mindset, he thinks that every other team in the NFC North is pretty much beneath him, especially the Bears. But now, also, I would throw in the Detroit Lions. There is a contempt about him when it comes to Detroit. And here's what I mean. You go back to Monday Night Football. The Packers, they're playing the Rams. Last time I hopefully have to say their name on this show, but the Packers are playing them. The Packers win 24-10. It's the end of the game. Aaron Rodgers goes and he talks with the female reporter for the post-game, like on-field, like interview or whatever. And the interview is winding down. And what happens? The female reporter says, hey, you guys just won this game. The next three opponents you have coming up, all of them are over 500. What do you have to say to that? Well, here's the thing. Aaron Rodgers made a correction, and it wasn't an actual correction. He was correct. He said one of those teams is not above 500, and he was specifically referencing us. But if y'all have watched the clip, you know that how Aaron Rodgers said that was a sign of contempt for the Detroit Lions. And let's understand why it was a sign of contempt for the Lions. This goes back to freaking week 9 when Aaron Rodgers came to town to play the Lions at Ford Field, and the Lions defense made his life absolutely miserable. Made his life miserable. That was one of the worst games that we have ever seen from Aaron Rodgers, and he literally got destroyed by two rookies. He got destroyed by Kirby Joseph for 2 separate interceptions, and he got destroyed by Aiden Hutchinson for another interception. In that game, Aaron Rodgers had 1 touchdown throw to 3 interceptions. It's one of the worst games Aaron Rodgers has ever had as a quarterback. And now, that game was literally what sparked the turnaround, so to speak, for here in Detroit. Now, why am I specifically going back to that game? The reason I'm going back to that game is because after that game in the locker room afterwards, and even after the game itself had been completely gone and he had moved on back to his part of the world, he would not give the Detroit Lions defense credit for beating him. He wouldn't do it. He actually refused to. He's like, listen, I don't think they beat us. I think we beat ourselves. And it's like, dude, it's like, are you that high on yourself? Are you that puffed up about yourself that you simply will not give credit to an opposing defense actually doing their job and getting the better of you? It's like, I get it. The Lions were not good when we played them at the time. We had just won our second game, but it's like, dude, our team showed up to play. Yours did not. You did not. Give the Lions the actual credit they deserve. They deserve to get credit. They deserve to get kudos for actually beating you, and not just beating you, but beating you well, beating you convincingly. But Aaron Rodgers wouldn't do that. In fact, he made every attempt he could to say, we did not lose to them. We beat ourselves. And it's like, dude, it's like that was one of the worst things he could ever do, because it's like, listen, at that point, that just cements the idea that Aaron Rodgers is a sore loser. He is. He's a sore loser. He's not only a sore loser, he's also a sore winner, because when he wins, oh my Lord, how that guy loves to gloat. He loves to gloat. But when he loses, he turns into a child. He literally does. He becomes very gloomy. He becomes very melancholy about it, and he never wants to talk about it. It's like, whatever. We beat ourselves. They didn't beat us. And it's like, dude, it's like, actually give credit where credit is due. You got beat. We owned you that day, but you don't want to talk about it. Well, now you have to add in the comments that happened after Monday Night Football. Oh, well, one team's not over 500. It's like, dude, you could have let that comment well enough alone. You could have left it alone. But no, Aaron Rodgers had to make sure specifically to talk about Detroit and say, oh, well, they're the only one that's not above 500. And it's like, dude, everybody knew we weren't above 500, but you had to be that one individual that literally had to say that we weren't above 500 just so that way you could say it. It's like, dude, there comes a time and a place when you don't have to say certain things. At that point in time, you didn't have to say it. You could have just left it well enough alone. It probably would have gotten picked up on the news cycles the next day that the lady was wrong. She was misspeaking. But no, you had to take that comment and you had to make it into something bigger. You had to make it into something bigger than what it was by making sure that you made not only sure that you corrected her, but said, yeah, I know that there's a team that's not above 500, and I know who that team is. And it's like, dude, I get it. You own the quote-unquote Bears, and you do that freaking discount double-check championship belt nonsense every time you go and play the Bears. I get it. But it's like, dude, it's like, what have the Lions ever done to you? In fact, you have done more to the Lions in, screwing them over with the Hail Mary that happened at the end of one game. You've had more chances to ruin the Lions over the years than the Lions have ever done to you. But yet it's like you seem to find contempt with the Lions, and it's like, dude, I don't even know why. Like, that's the one thing about Aaron Rodgers that I simply don't understand. It's like that dude just has a natural knack for just being petty. Like, I'll just put it for what it is. He's petty. He's very petty. And for a guy that's won, however many MVPs it is, he's won a freaking Super Bowl and all these accolades. He is very petty with people when he doesn't feel like he gets the recognition that he should deserve. And it's like, dude, you're a full-grown man. You're almost 40 years old, and you're still acting childish at times. It's like, dude, it's like sometimes I look at Aaron Rodgers, and it's like, now I know why you're not married. Like, to me, it's just like, it is what it is. And that's why I don't like the Packers. Not necessarily because I just don't like them in general, but it's like, dude, the fact that the Packers have put up with Aaron Rodgers for as long as they have and they keep coming back for more, it's like, dude, y'all are just freaking gluttons for punishment. It's like, you guys should have moved on from him. You guys should have really moved on from him and moved into your next era, your next phase of the franchise. But it's like now you've got reports that Jordan Love, their backup quarterback, is like, listen, either Aaron Rodgers goes or I go, because he wants to move on with his career. He wants to actually play. And Jordan Love wisely realizes that as long as Aaron Rodgers is there, he's never going to get a chance to play because Aaron Rodgers is never going to just willingly sit on the sideline. He's never going to do it. And if you're a quarterback, you realize one thing first and foremost. There's only ever one quarterback on the field at any given time. There's only one starter. And Jordan Love wants to play. And he's been sitting behind Aaron Rodgers now for the last 2-3 years or something. He wants to play. He's tired of waiting.